Greetings, world. I'm Pastor Ron R. Owens. Listen, there are a couple of things in life you need to take you on your journey. And I think the experience of phenomenal and incredible people are the things you need to teach and take on your journey. I don't know about you, but every Tuesday I find a time and a space to watch an incredible woman who knows what it's like to lose and to win and to win and to lose and to beat the battles of life. None other than my big sister, Sister Valerie Daniels-Carter. If you want engagement, if you want to be able to enlarge your territory, expand your tents, build your business, and battle the struggles of motherhood, success in business, and life, you need to tune in and watch an incredible conversation between somebody that knows what it's like. Touch and tag, tell a friend. I'll be watching.
Hey everyone, my name is Michelle Watson and I am from Peoria, Illinois. I am popping on here really quickly to give you all an announcement of an up-and-coming series done by our own Valerie Daniels-Carter. Yes, she will be talking about the Reality of Recovery Series Session 1. When? September the 22nd at 7 p.m. on all the social media outlets, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. So save the date. Let us support Sister Carter in her endeavors. I expect you to log in. Be there. Again, September the 22nd, 7 p.m. Save the date.
Good morning, viewers. This is another new day. I want to appreciate each one of you. Thank you for this program, which is started by Dr. Valerie Daniels-Carter. This is a very unique program, a program whereby it will add value to our businesses. Valerie Daniels-Carter work with women and men all over the world, within Kenya, international, America, and everywhere. This program will help many men. This program will help many women. This program will help our youth and even some of us like myself. One of the programs I'm having here, I have learned from Valerie Daniels-Carter. So it will train you. It will be like a school to teach you different and many things, to empower you and to add value to your businesses. She's also a counselor. She's also evangelist. Spiritually, you will grow. You have power to win. I want to thank you, viewers, as you continue to watch this program. I want to appreciate you and we thank God for each one of you in Jesus' name.
My name is Mrs. Hilda Kebuti from Kenya, East Africa. I want to thank Dr. Valerie Daniels-Carter for including us, both men and women, into her project of Empowered to Win. We have won big time because of agribusiness. We are doing both crop like this in the nurseries and also livestock farming. We thank God for her and we pray that may God prosper Empowered to Win project so that the way she has touched more than 500 families amongst hers, she may continue touching more. God bless Empowered to Win project. God bless Dr. Valerie Daniels-Carter.
Greetings,
Amen.
I'm Dr. Regina Flippin, and I'm so excited. My sister, my friends, my mentor, Dr. Valerie Daniels-Carter, has created this educational platform, Power to Win. God has led her to share her experiences to viewers of all ages and equip them with the necessary tools to win. A dynamite contains explosive materials, but it is incapable of detonating without a trigger of extreme shock or heat. Once a source detonates the dynamite, then it receives its power to become explosive. You are already a winner. You already possess the necessary materials inside of you to win, just like dynamite. Now you just need that igniting force to unleash your power. Dr. Carter will be that force, that trigger, that fire to help detonate your winning potential. You will be uplifted, edified, and educated. She will train you on how to unleash what you already possess, creating your power.
I am thrilled to tell you about an exciting new series by Dr. Valerie Daniels-Carter. She has created an educational platform called Power to Win. This weekly series will provide viewers of all ages an opportunity to gain business tips, skills, spiritual empowerment, enrichment to help balance your life. This series is absolutely free by a phenomenal woman taking the time out to give us all this in a free weekly video. Get in tuned, tell a friend, tell a loved one, tell a neighbor.
When I think about Dr.
See you
Valerie
later.
Daniels-Carter's Power to Win series, I think about an athlete running a race. Before the athlete runs the race, they receive training, coaching, tips, everything that they need to give them the fuel to not only finish the course, but to win the race. I believe that this series by Dr. Valerie Daniels-Carter will give us the fuel and the power that we need to win the race of life. Dr. Carter has already impacted my life in immeasurable ways, and I believe that receiving her business tips, her life training, her spiritual empowerment will give me even more power to win. And I'm looking forward to this weekly series, the Power to Win series.
There's no way you could know me, Marquise Jelks, without knowing Evangelist Carter, okay? Because she is going to come up in at least one, if not at least every conversation that I have, because she is an inspiration to me. Not just business, not just entrepreneurship, but let's deal with music. And that's how I was first introduced to her. I'm 34 years old, going to the Midwest Regional Music Conference practically my entire life, every September. She really helped make me and shape me as a minister of music, a choir president, a choir director. Evangelist Carter is the baddest choir director in the entire world, okay? Then when I launched into entrepreneurship about 5 years ago, I was able to glean more from her. She's just a total inspiration to me. I'm excited about your launch on September 22nd. Welcome to all things social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. You're just gonna be everywhere, and I'm excited that others get to see the impact that you've had on my life, okay? I know you've reached millions, literally, but you're going to reach millions more. Evangelist Carter, I love you so much, and welcome to social media world.
This year, we're adding Valerie Daniels-Carter, co-founder, president, and CEO of Milwaukee-based V&J holding companies, to that prestigious list. With the help of her brother John, Valerie launched V&J Foods in 1982 with the construction of a Burger King restaurant at 58th and Lisbon in Milwaukee. She has led and grown the business ever since. Within 16 years, she grew the company into a 137-unit multi-brand franchise restaurant operation. The company's brands include Burger King, Pizza Hut, Auntie Anne's, and others. Valerie has also given back to the community in multiple ways, including spearheading the creation of the Mother Catherine Daniels Conference Center at Holy Redeemer Church in Milwaukee, a project that included a Boys and Girls Club and schools. She's also spending a great deal of time helping aspiring entrepreneurs, including hundreds of women in Africa, get their start in business. For all she's done to grow her business from scratch, give back to the community, and help other entrepreneurs, we're delighted to present the 2020 Biz Time Media Bravo Entrepreneur Award to Valerie Daniels-Carter. And now Valerie is going to share her story and her entrepreneurial wisdom in a Q&A interview with Biz Time's Milwaukee editor, Andrew Weiland. Take it away, Andrew.
Thank you, Dan. And congratulations and welcome, Valerie. We are delighted to be recognizing you this year with our Lifetime Achievement Award in recognition of your extraordinarily entrepreneurial career and everything you have done to give back to the community and to support aspiring entrepreneurs. Just for starters, is there anything you'd like to say about receiving the award?
Well, certainly, Andrew. I want to thank you and everyone that was in the selection process for selecting me. I am honored and humbled to receive this award. And I certainly give deference to the past honorees who have received this award. It is just a list of exceptional people, and I'm grateful to be included with those individuals. Grateful to all of the individuals that worked with me to ensure that our organization remains strong and viable, especially in the times that we're living in. So thank you very much, and I'm very appreciative.
You're welcome. Well said, and it's very well deserved. I want to take our viewers through your life entrepreneurial journey, and it's an extraordinary story. I want to start off just as a child. You grew up in Milwaukee, and I know from talking to you previously, you had entrepreneurial instincts from a young age. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. It's really interesting because when I was 6 years old, I was much taller than most, and I decided that I wanted to find a resourceful way to get income. So I decided that I would go through the neighborhood and families that had children in K4 or K5 and see if they needed a monitor to help them get to school. So I knocked on a couple doors, and there were a few families, and they paid me $1.25 a week to walk their kindergartners back and forth to school. It was about a 3/4 of a mile walk. And so I was their monitor, their protector. Now, mind you, I was in first grade and they were in kindergarten, but every week the parents paid. So yes, as a child, I found ways to resourcefully manage garnering income.
What brought that about? Was that just sort of a natural instinct that you had? Was it something that your parents nurtured? Where did those entrepreneurial instincts come from for you?
For me, I really believe that it was driven by my father, John Daniels Sr., who was an entrepreneur himself, and my mother, who instilled within her children that you can do whatever you want to do and you can be whatever you want to be. You just have to put your mind to it and have to go after it. And as a child, growing up, as a teenager growing up, we were always encouraged to seek after vision, to seek after a place of destiny for ourselves. And don't be afraid to challenge yourself to do something that's outside of the box. So I definitely look at my parents, who were great role models for me. And, I have to give them credit for where I am. And then I look at my siblings, and my sisters and brothers are highly motivated individuals. And it was because John and Catherine Daniels, they were firm in giving us, I think, the push that we needed to do what we, could do.
And your dad was an entrepreneur, right? Can you tell me a little about his business?
Well, my father was one of the first African-American engineers in the city of Milwaukee to own his own heating and ventilation company and refrigeration repair. He also worked for the naval base in Illinois. So he would work in Illinois Monday through Friday. He would come home Friday afternoon, work his business on the weekend, and then return back to Illinois on Monday morning. And so when he retired, he expanded his business. And, we were part of that. We were part of helping him while he was away, making sure that all of his customers were satisfied. So it was indeed an opportunity to watch a strong, very strong guy handle multitask in an arena that was traditionally not designed for African American males. So my dad, not only by sharing with us, but by example, showed us how it could be done.
So then you went to Custer High School, I know, and then after graduating from college, you worked in finance. You worked for First Wisconsin National Bank and MGIC, correct?
That's correct.
But then at some point you wanted to start your own business. And I know you and your brother did that. You started V&J Foods in 1982, building a Burger King restaurant in Milwaukee at 58th and Lisbon. Tell me about what made you want to take that leap and start your own business, and why did you go into the fast food restaurant business?
Well, now between walking kids to school at the age of 6 and actually starting my first restaurant, I did a couple of things in order to allow my entrepreneurial skills to become refined. But when I got ready to start my Burger King restaurant, it was not an easy task because I was young. A lot of capital was needed in order to do it. I had not been in the food industry ever before, but I had, I believe, the skill set to do what was needed to be done. So I was reading one day an article about Burger King looking for operators. And I reached out to my brother. Now, I do want to clear this up. I started the company. John had nothing to do with starting this company. I had to put his name on there because he gave me a lot of money to get started.
Okay.
But I tease him all the time. I said, this is the best investment you ever made. But by training, John was a attorney and is an attorney, and a phenomenal attorney. He was the chairman of Quarles and Brady. So for years he practiced law, and he believed in my vision. He believed in what I saw. So I reached out to Burger King and asked to be part of the program. It's a very challenging way to get into the company because it was like a cold call. And eventually we got through the process, and I'm not going to tell you all the secrets of the process. People will have to get my book. His Business is Your Business. It's Where Destiny Takes You, in order to really get a feel for the story. But I had to do some, let's just say, interesting things in order to get the attention of the franchisor. And so eventually I was approved as a Burger King franchisee. We developed and built our first restaurant. We did the construction. But it was my background that helped me to be able to do a lot of the things that I was able to do because my dad was in the trades. I knew how to work and manage with trades because I had a finance background. The base of working, at the time it was U.S. Bank, the base of working, starting out in their management training program and being promoted multiple times to a retail and commercial lender, getting the opportunity to work in their international department. Just a number of experiences that I had working there and with MGIC Investment Corporation allowed me to have that financial background that I needed to be able to identify some of the threats that can happen when you are a business person. So, when I'm talking to groups of young people and young entrepreneurs, which I do often, I tell them all of these pieces of this puzzle were critically important, to making me who I am today.
So you saw an opportunity in Burger King, but why did you want, some people might just be, hey, the safe corporate job. Why did you want to go out on your own and do your own thing, be your own boss? Why was that important?
Well, I think it was because of who I am. And I always dispel the myth with individuals. They say, oh, it's great to be in business. I'm great that I'm an entrepreneur. Well, you're an entrepreneur no matter what platform you're on, whether you're the employer or the employee. You can be a great entrepreneur or have the great entrepreneurial spirit as an employee within an organization, and that makes your organization great. So I somewhat redefined the entrepreneurship of an individual mindset, if you will, because I want them to know whether you work a job from 9 to 5 and you give it 150%, you're just as much as an entrepreneur. You just have that entrepreneurial spirit within the confines of where you're working, and you can take that anywhere. And you may not want the pressures of ownership. There's a whole different dynamic that comes when you are responsible for other people's lives, when you are responsible for their ability to be able to take care of their homes and their families. So I dispel the myth many times that says the only reason a person is an entrepreneur is because they are or have the ability to operate their own company. Well, you have the opportunity to operate your space that you exist in. The business is your business at your desk, and you handle it well, and you do a great job, and no one can do it better than you can do. So if you're the employer or if you're the employee, the question is, does your entrepreneurial spirit drive you to be the best?
And so when you started the business, how did things go in the early days once the restaurant opened? And you expanded fairly rapidly. You grew the business within 16 years. You had 137 units, so you scaled up over time. You know, how did you do that, and why did you decide to go in that direction? Some people might have been satisfied with, I've got one restaurant, that's fine. What made you, and how did you get to that point where you had more than 100?
You know what? That's a great question, because had you asked me when I opened my first restaurant, was I satisfied? I would have told you, this is wonderful, this is great, you know. And but my passion didn't stop there. My capacity was not just to be a one-store owner. I have the capacity, really, I believe, to run 10,000 restaurants. Now I don't have the capital to do it. You know, that's coming down the road. But I believe that a person has to be self-energized. They've got to be able to define their space properly. When I started operating the first restaurant, we did phenomenally well. And immediately I said, you know what, I'm going to seek after a second restaurant. And then as we started building the company and we started doing acquisitions as well as development and construction, it became apparent to me that in order for an organization to be extremely successful, they have to have extremely talented people working with them. So I'm not afraid to have great talent around me. As a matter of fact, I welcome it. I want you to be better than me. I want you to outthink me if you think you can. I want you to outpace me if you think you can. So yes, starting out, I worked countless hours, but I had a phenomenal support system in my husband. He basically said, go for your dream, go after it. Don't worry about anything. You know, if for any reason it doesn't work, guess what? You still have home and you still have me. And that was really enough for me at the time. My family was very supportive. My church was very supportive. So you have those support systems around you, pushing you and motivating you and encouraging you. It becomes easier to allow that innate ability that's in you to grow. And I just am grateful and thankful that I was able to do it.
And I suppose that support system, because I'm sure for some entrepreneurs, they have to get over that fear of failure. What if I fail? And the failure rate, of course, is so high. I imagine having that support system made you feel, I'm comfortable now, I can take the risk. And if it doesn't work out, it'll be okay.
And you know what? That was for me. But I think earlier you and I may have been talking about this. In the last 4 years, I've been blessed to assist and start over 900 women in business in Africa. And their motivation is totally different than what motivated me. Many of them are starting not just because they want to be in business, but they have a need to be able to create a space of livelihood for themselves. You know, most of them were not working, unemployed. Many of their family members are not working, not employed, but they had skill, they had talent, they had desire, and they had the ability to do it, just not the resources to get started. They didn't have the structure that they needed to understand. These are some of the do's and don'ts of business. And if you do this, you have a pretty good chance of being able to get to the next level. If you don't do this, then you're going to get caught in a different way. So we put together a training module for them, and we allowed them to work through that training module. And then if they made it through that training module, we seeded capital into their vision. And because of their passion to want to succeed and their ability to do it, some of them have partnered up with other women in order to be able to do it, because we really believe in a person identifying what are your strengths. Start with your strengths first, because weaknesses will always be there and you'll always have to deal with them. But start with the things that will make you feel good about what you're doing. And then let's build on some of this other stuff.
So wait, I just want to make this clear. You run a business with over 100 restaurants, but you are also supporting, or you have supported, 900 female entrepreneurs in Africa to help them start their own ventures. I just want to be clear that how do you find all the time to do that? How did you get into do that? Why was it so important for you to reach out and assist those folks?
Well, it started actually with a trip that I went on. I was invited by Tommy Thompson to go, and that's when he was Secretary of Health and Human Services.
okay.
And they took 30 business leaders, they took 30 politicians, and they took 30 individuals from the medical arena to go to Africa. And at that time, we were making recommendations to the White House as to initiatives that they could do in order to support Africa. So I was going as a business person to make it recommendations from a business perspective. I got there. Now, I've seen the stories, I've seen television, I've seen it for years and years and years and years. And I was able to see, you know, what they said, but until you really go there and experience it, it is totally different. And when I got there and I began to see the devastation of many individuals, and I began to really experience their life, it changed me. So when I came back, I certainly took time to make sure I made my recommendations, but I reached out to some of the other African-American Burger King owners, and I said, look, we'd like to create destiny for ourselves. Here's a place where we can do it. Won't you help me build a school? So we built a school there. The school was designed to educate.
And where specifically?
In Kenya.
Okay.
And the school's about 3 hours outside of Nairobi.
Okay.
And it was designed to educate about 750 kids whose parents had died from AIDS. And so that was our first initiative there. So I got the funders and I got support. I teamed up with an organization that had infrastructure to be able to manage it. And we built the school. But I wasn't satisfied. I knew there was more. So we started working with some additional orphanages there and schools there. I got my church to support me. We built and dug a borehole that provided water for 28,000 families. You know, when you watch someone walk 5 miles with a 5-gallon bucket on their head just to get water, and that water is the same water that they use to wash themselves with, to cook with, to clean with, to do personal things with, and then they have to take that same water and dump it and go back the next day. You know, for the cost it costs for us to, you know, build a well for them to have water to come, you know, remotely close to their home, it doesn't even compare. So my church supported me in some of the initiatives, and I just started doing things. And in recognition of the things and the work that I was doing there, I began to have the right relationships with people that would allow me to really understand where the need was, what I could do in my small little space to empower other people. And I became, in our church, the supervisor for Women for Africa. And when I did that, I met with the vice president's wife of Kenya, and they began to share with me that they believe that there is a huge need for women to be empowered and to have businesses in Africa. And they asked me if I would be supportive of doing that. And I said yes. And that was the seed. Mm-hmm. And I started with 2 women just to test it out. And we multiplied the 2 to 7. We multiplied to 7, and I think we went to 21. And then we went to 130 women. And they started, and it's really interesting. I got to share this with you because it's who I am. Because in life, if you don't leave anything behind, then what have you really done? Yeah. So what I did was I would tell them I'm coming, and I said, you invite 30 more women that you think, you know, would enjoy hearing what our platform is. And they said, no problem. We're going to have those 30 women there for you. Can we have a few more than 30? I said, sure. You know, I'm thinking to myself, a few more than 30 may mean 35 or 36. Right. So I get there. We arrive at the senator's residence where I was going to have the meeting with the women and talk to them about what the other women had done to empower themselves and get into business. They opened the gate, literally. There are over 700 women standing there waiting for me to make a statement about going into business. So I look at the woman that had put the event together, and I said, I can't fund 700 women going into business. I said, how did you guys invite 700 women? Now, mind you, some of these women had walked 8 hours to this meeting. in order to be there by noon. And they had to walk 8 hours to get back home. So I'm sitting there saying to myself, what do you do when you have 700 women looking you in the eyes, looking you in the face? They want to go in business. They've got the motivation. They've got the ability. They just don't have the capital. And so I began to pray about it, first of all. And then I said to the ladies, I said, look, I need to be honest with you. I expected to see about 30 or 35 ladies, and you guys have just wowed me. You just really wowed me. I said, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to allow you to select the first 30. And then those 30 will help multiply the resources that will be needed so all of you can go in business. And of course, that was my way out of getting out of having to try to figure it out that day. And they among themselves began to have dialogue about what businesses that they believed should be the first businesses to go forward that could be extremely successful so they could help start another lady or start another female into business. So we now call it a woman lifting another woman, because after 18 months, you have to make a commitment to lift another lady into business. So that's how we were able to wrap up so quick.
What types of businesses are they in?
Oh my gosh, all types of businesses. They're in fish farming, they're in pig farming or raising chicken farming, they're in bead making, they make lotion, they make clothing. I mean, we have women in construction. They're in all types of businesses. They chose their strength, and then we support and embellish the things that are needed.
Oh, that's incredible. Back stateside and focusing back on your business, we talked about how you had, in 16 years, grew to 137 restaurant units. And it wasn't just Burger King. You added several additional brands. I want to talk about that. How did those opportunities and how did you bring in Pizza Hut and several others into the fold?
Well, I think once you're successful operators, because in our industry, it's hard to find really successful operators that are committed to the day-to-day process. A lot of businesses are owned by venture capitalists. They get it, they flip it, they turn it. But to have somebody that's going to be there every day, managing, operating, and seeing after an organization is really important for franchisors. So actually, many of them came to us looking for a strong operator to continue their brand, because franchisors have to have strong franchisees in order to grow their brand, if it is deemed to be a long-term brand. So for us, it was just an opportunity to grow with brands that we thought had very good positioning in the marketplace, the states in which we operated. And it was an opportunity for us to diversify our base. And since then, we've created a couple brands where we're now allowing young entrepreneurs that have a desire to be in the food industry. We've created 2 brands. One is Nino's Southern Sides, which is a Southern cuisine brand. And we're creating that brand now to allow the expansion for other younger entrepreneurs. And we have one called My Frozen Yogurt. So it's really, for me now, about intergenerational transfer and about giving back and sharing the knowledge and the wealth of experience that I've been blessed to have by being in business now for almost 40 years. Now, you're supposed to say you didn't look like you're in business for 40 years.
I missed that question.
I'm just messing with you. Okay, go ahead.
You've touched on the need to raise capital and the challenges of raising capital to get started. You touched on your experience and how others, and that's a big issue in Milwaukee and Wisconsin. We often hear that we don't rank very well for startup activity, first of all, and for venture capital, seed capital for businesses as well. Talk about the challenge that's out there and what you think could be done to address that, to help attract more capital to support startups in our community.
That's a great question, because that probably is the number one issue for most entrepreneurs, is having sufficient capital in order to start their business, because many of them start undercapitalized. And because they start out undercapitalized, unless they have a certain skill set and the ability to really define where their profit margins have to go in order to be successful, it causes them to fail. Not because they didn't have a good product or a great product in many cases, not because they didn't spend countless hours trying to make it work. They didn't have the support system that around them that allowed them to put the right strategy together and allow them to be successful. So not just having the capital, but understanding the utilization of capital and where it is best deployed in order for you to be able to complete the business plan. It's great to sit down and write a business plan, but somebody's got to work that business plan. And when you're there working the business plan, the question is, when you reach a place where, hey, this isn't quite what this plan said, what do I do? You have to have a mentor, an advisor that says, this is what you do when you get to this place. When you hit this wall, don't just stop because it's a wall. This is how you knock this wall down. And I think that's what a lot of young entrepreneurs don't have. They hit that wall, and if they don't have enough stick-to-itiveness, they'll say, you know what, maybe I need to just revert and go back. If I could tell you the truth, which I always will because I'm very transparent, my failures have been some of my greatest opportunities for me, because it allowed me to understand what I shouldn't be doing, why I shouldn't do it, and it allowed me to regroup and refocus. It allowed me to look at things differently, and really it opened up my understanding as to why I failed. But you have to accept your failures. Just like you accept your success, you have to accept your failures and define it in a way that it is helpful to you, and it becomes the bridge that gets you over and not the stone that causes you to fail. So it's not just capital, but it is the proper utilization of capital, deploying it at the right time, and understanding the proper way to manage it once you have it. I can give you $1 million, but if you are a $1,000 man, in a year, you'll have $1,000. You can give me $1 million, but if I'm a $10 million woman, in a year, I'll have 10 million. So it's understanding the strategy of how to get to that 10 million versus 1,000.
You briefly mentioned the importance of mentors. When we spoke earlier, I had asked you what was the biggest thing that Milwaukee needs to foster more entrepreneurs, and you mentioned mentors. So I'd like you to talk about the importance and what would be really key as a strategy, as a community, to grow more entrepreneurs is mentorship and what that could mean. Talk about how important that is.
It's critical, and I'm going to tell you why. Because generally a person doesn't know where to go in order to get the right type of mentorship. We have a phenomenal SBA department that has a SCORE department. They have retired individuals that have been down the road. We have different corporations in Wisconsin that are socially responsible to helping others grow their business. But when you're in a community where you don't know how to make that connection, or you don't know who's the SBA is or SCORE is or some of those companies are, you sit there in asylum all by yourself and you try to figure out, how do I get out of trouble? And you reach out to the wrong individuals, because if a person has never been where you're going, it's hard for them to tell you how to get there sometimes. And so understanding not only where to find these mentors, but they have to understand your space. They have to be able to relate to your experience. They have to know what was it that caused you to have this distress in your life that now you need support in order to move to the next level. And having someone that is empathetic to where you are. You may be a female in business, a single mom, and you've got 3 children. So you've got the pressure at home of having 3 children. You started this business, and you've got the pressure of starting this business. You have the employees there. The joy for me is knowing how to relate to those individuals. So having a mentor that not just can relate to your business plan, but that can relate to your life. And when they can put all of those pieces, there's a canvas out there, and we're painting this canvas. And, you know, sometimes you got to call yourself Rembrandt, and you got to decide how you're going to make this canvas look. And that's your life's picture. But you got to understand maybe the pinks need to go over here and the blues need to go over here. Having someone that understands how to shift you in the right direction.
I also want to ask you about your involvement in the Mother Catherine Daniels Conference Center at Holy Redeemer Church. That is your church, correct?
Absolutely.
And that facility is named after your mom.
Mm-hmm.
And I want you to just talk about that project, your involvement. There were many others that were involved that you pulled together. And how did you do it? And what did you create there? And why was that important?
Well, my brother is a phenomenal visionary. First of all, he's the Bishop of Wisconsin, Bishop Cedric Daniels. And he comes up with these great ideas. And then he throws them in your lap and says, go find the money to do it. So he had a vision to have a youth center. And it wasn't just a youth center, but he wanted to house the ability to train other non-for-profits. He wanted to allow governmental agencies to come in and be able to have networking opportunities. And so it was a prototype that allowed public, private, religious, and other sectors to come together under one roof without any definition, if you will. So he threw it in my lap and said, let's name it after mom. Well, of course, when he said, let's name it after mom, well, who was going to turn that down, you know? And so he sends me off running, and I grab my partners. Burger King, you got to build a room. Pizza Hut, you got to build a room. You know, so I grab all my partners to start helping me remodel. We go out, he goes out and works with MPS to put a school system in there. And we just started putting the components. We got some non-for-profits to support us on the non-for-profit side. And so we got ready to, we got under construction, and one day I got a call from Michael Jordan, and Michael says, Val, I need to come and walk and talk to you about something. I said, sure, come on down. And
Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
I want to make sure we get that.
That's okay. And so we're sitting in my office, we're talking, and he's telling me about some things he was getting ready to do. It was really great. And so I says, Mike, will you ride over with me to a facility that we have under construction? And I just want you to see it and give me some of your thoughts on the gymnasium, because I was naming the gymnasium in memory of my husband. So I wanted it to be perfect. And he says, sure. So we get in a car, we drive over to the center, and we go, and he looks at the place. He says, this is great. He says, you guys are probably going to have this ready in about 2 years? I said, no, man, we'll have this ready in a couple months. He says, there's no way. Absolutely no way. I says, yeah, Mike, this place is going to open in August. He says, Val, this place is never opening in August. So I says to him, I tell you what, if this facility is ready in August, make me a promise. He said, what's that? That you'll come and you'll shoot the first basket in the gymnasium named after my husband. And so, of course, he says, absolutely. He had no idea that would put me on steroids to get it done. And so we got ready. And about 2 weeks before we got ready to open, I called him. I said, Mike, look, we're on schedule, man. He says, you are kidding. I said, no. I said, I'm very serious. He says, are you serious? I said, yes. So I says, and I want you here. He says, I said, now one great thing about him, if he makes you a promise, he's going to keep it. I says, and I want you here. He says, are you serious? I says, I'm absolutely. I said, have you ever known me to lie? He says, I've never known you to be a liar. I says, okay. And so we sent him all the information. He drives up. He was living in Illinois at the time. He drives up and he shoots the first basket. I said, you better make this basket, man, because there were thousands of people out there just waiting to see if he's going to make this basket. And so he shoots the first shot. He makes it. And my son shoots the shot. He doesn't make it because he was so nervous standing next to Mike. And then a couple other people. So it was a really exciting time. So the center has a Boys and Girls Club in it. It's an empowerment facility. They do catering for events and things. And it's named after my mom, who was committed to the community. And so that's why we did it, because it represents the reflection of what she wanted. And that's to bring different people together.
And so the initial connection of Michael Jordan was he was conferring with you on some business advice?
Yes,
or something he was working
yes.
on? And you've been involved in other sports things. You're a partial owner of the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yes.
And you're on the Packers board.
Yes.
How did those opportunities come along?
A faith and favor, I guess, you know. To be honest with you, they're both phenomenal organizations. You got to know the Packers and you got to know the Bucks are number one teams in the world. So why wouldn't number one be with number one? Why wouldn't they want me? You know. So yes, it's exciting. I enjoy it, and look forward to a championship in a couple of weeks.
Hope so. With everything you've done, what's next? What's next for you? Have you thought about retirement? Have you thought about a succession plan for your business? What's on the horizon for you with all you've achieved?
Oh, darling, I'm too young to retire. You know what? I wake up every morning asking for the wisdom to do the things that I need to do. And I have set no retirement age for myself. And I think when that time comes, you know, I'll know it. And of course, each and every day you think about succession. What am I going to do here? What am I going to do there? How do I place this now to position it for a long-term strategy? I've got a son. I've got some great employees. And I think they understand. And for many years, they have understood the passion that I have around wanting to empower others. And they will continue to carry that torch. You know, something many people don't know about me is I love music. And as a matter of fact, I may even give it to you. Starting in September, I'm going to be doing a session every Tuesday on some social media sites, just encouraging and empowering young entrepreneurs to stay encouraged during this pandemic season, and letting them know that, you know, storms do pass over. And when you get to the rainbow, it looks wonderful. And just giving them words and tidbits of encouragement. And I wrote a jingle for it. And I set it to music, and I sit there and I listen to it because it reflects who I am. Power to Win, it's what it's going to be called. And if you've got the ability, the innate ability to continue to challenge yourself every morning when you wake up, you know, I say, Lord, I thank you for the dawning of this day. Just give me what I need in order to be the person that you want me to be today. So no, I've not defined that structure of retirement yet for me. I think there's too much of me to still transfer to others. And I just want to do it. I enjoy my life. I have fun. I have great people. I don't dread going to work in the morning. You know, I wake up looking forward to working with the people I work with. I partner with some of the greatest individuals. And do you have challenges? Yeah. Do you have setbacks? Absolutely. But you don't allow them to control you. The key is you control them. So when something happens that's a negative, you look at it and say, you shouldn't have done that, because now you're going to make me do something even greater than what I just did. So, you know, when I tell you that I'm blessed, I am blessed. That's what I am.
Those are some wonderful words, wonderful parting thoughts. Valerie, I think this is all we have time for, and it's been an absolute pleasure talking with you and picking your brain and hearing your story. So thank you so much for being part of our event, and congratulations yet again on a well-deserved Lifetime Achievement Award. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and thank you for this time today. Thank you for being here, and thank you for your organization for considering me and showcasing some of the things that we're doing. I appreciate that.
You're absolutely welcome.
Again, thank you for tuning in to our broadcast. I encourage you to invite your friends, your family, business partners, and others to join with us each Tuesday evening beginning September 22nd, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time for the Power to Win broadcast. Our first series is entitled The Reality of Recovery. Oh my goodness, you don't want to miss it. I know you will be blessed. See you on September 22nd, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. God bless you and be empowered.